What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with my boy Chasing Cinema,
also known as Rocketman, and Mr. James Shue, here for Rocketman.
Taron Egerton.
Taron Egerton playing the one, the only Sir Elton John.
Before you continue,
yeah,
I'm impressed that Elton John approved of him so much that he allowed him to not only sing with him, but he would do it on talk shows. That says a lot because, yeah, I'm sure he's getting paid for the movie and he's getting paid for it, but he don't got to do that.
Presses in the contract for
he
sure.
He ain't got to do that.
They're not saying, hey, could you mind letting Taron? You mind letting scooting over on your piano stand so you can let Taron sing part of your songs? No, thank you. I'm Sir Elton John. So that's straight up. That's straight up a personal decision.
Yeah, like he's like, no, he's good.
Yeah.
He can. This dude can legitimately sing. So, Chasing, do I need to watch this movie?
Well, I think this is a perfect example of a much better experience than Bohemian Rhapsody. So last year, Bohemian Rhapsody came out, and you can go back and watch our review. I was not negative on Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't think it was an awful movie by any means. I don't think it's a bad movie by any means, but I think it's a perfect example of a movie that is just good enough. And I think that's why, if you guys are curious, that is why there was some uproar and some conflict when it won and did so well at the Academy Awards. Even you were shocked. Yeah, they tripped.
They tripping.
But now, if we learned anything about
What did it do? Best Picture?
Best Picture and actor, and I think a few other things. Whatever it was quite shocking. But I'm not here to hate on Bohemian Rhapsody because that's not the point. But now, what does that mean? It means we are starting a trend. We are going to get the biopics of the rock gods. We're going to get the Bowie. We got Bowie working. There's another one they have in the works right now. I cannot for the life of me remember.
They just announced today. They're making one on. They just literally announced it today. And I rolled my eyes when I read the article.
Yeah, they announced someone today. I read the same article, and I can't for the life of me remember who it was. But there's Bowie. They're doing.
Did you see the one on Netflix?
No.
About it's like the rock band. That was interesting.
Oh, no,
but you don't need to watch it, but it's interesting.
But I mean, so now I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna be prepared for all these movies they're gonna try to carve it. Yeah, okay. So Styx is one, but that wasn't the one that was announced today. Netflix. Yeah, no. I'm trying to think of the other biopics. But anyway, we're going to be getting a ton of them, and I'm sure we're going to be getting a lot of them down the line. So now you have Elton John, someone who I feel I'm attached more musically than I am Queen. I have nothing against Queen. Obviously, Queen has put out some classics that all of us love. But I, personally have listened to more Elton John. Elton John is someone I would have loved to see live.
It's not too late.
But I'm also not the big enough fan to where I can tell you about Elton John's life. I mean, it wasn't anything like that. So I had my reservations going in. Taron Egerton I thought was a great choice. I think we talked about this last week, I think it's a really important time where he's either that one guy who played in Kingsman or those action movies back in the day, or he's that guy that people will still remember his name in 20 years. It's a big thing, and the way that Elton was promoting him and the way that Elton has been talking about this movie, we seem to have some high hopes. And I'm actually happy to announce that it met those expectations. I don't think it's a great picture. I don't think it's a knockout of the park. When everyone got out of Bohemian Rhapsody, they were calling it the masterpiece and all that, and it wasn't, and I don't think this movie is either, but it's definitely more what I wanted out of Bohemian Rhapsody. I think this movie matches Elton John's style and his personality, not only through costume design and set design, but just how the whole entire movie plays out. There's a lot of big musical numbers. It almost feels like there's a lot of it that almost feels really play-like it could be a stage show, and it wouldn't shock me that they wanted to do this on Broadway or on stage down the line, because it feels so meant for it. The movie starts out with an elder Elton John, not old, but pretty good amount of time into his career, looking back and going back and forth. So the movie doesn't have this is who he was when he was young, this is how he started the band, this is when he made that one song this is the time he made that other song oh, that song you didn't know he made, yeah, that's him, that we're going to play this one, and then here's the big number. Like every other musical biopic that we get, they're all the same. Where this movie really doesn't ever give you a timeline, and sometimes you feel like you're going back, sometimes you're going forward, you don't know exactly really where you are, there's not a super amount of detail. I think the one negative criticism from general audiences might be that it was too vague, and it's a very specific time frame of Elton John's life too. It's pretty much really surrounds his time as an addict, and why he was kind of an addict. Like, I don't even think we really get into like 90s Elton John in this movie, which I appreciated. You know, I like that we're focusing on we're trying to tell this one specific story.
No Lion King.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting. I was like, are they gonna play? I was kind of wondering, and then they don't. No Lion King. So. But I think they do some really cool things otherwise. You know, some of the beats are really awesome. Like, there's this really great opening number when we see teenage Elton John evolve into Taron Egerton, and they're dancing, and it's like this really big pop number. It kind of reminds me of the opening number in La La Land. Not as big scope wise, but it had that kind of energy and the dancing, and you know, it felt very flamboyant and colorful and wild and different, very much like Elton John. And I think that was the one thing that kind of bummed me out about Bohemian Rhapsody. It didn't feel like it had the spirit of Queen, and then the oddity of Queen, where this movie feels kind of different and stylish and weird. And they just small decisions that they made that I think just really make some strong points,
like the fantasy elements.
Yeah, like, so one of my favorite moments in this movie, and arguably one of my favorite moments I've seen all year. Like, when we used to do the Chasing Cinema Awards, which what we did when we first started, me and my partner Louis Vuitton, we would always say we'd pick the best moment of the year. And we would pick 5 like moments in film and say like these are the categories. Like, I would have definitely put that fight scene in Last Jedi in the best moments category, you know. So here, Elton is playing his first big show. There's a famous photo on the newspaper where he's kind of jumping, his legs are flinging in the air, but he's playing on the piano.
That's in the trailer, yeah.
Yeah. So
he's like floating.
But yeah, but in real life he just jumps, kicked his legs out and hit the piano. But in the movie he's playing this shy boy who never, you know, is deprived of love in his childhood, finally connects with these strangers, and all of a sudden they all start levitating, and Elton John is literally almost floating away from the keyboard off of this high of connecting with people. And then as the music comes crashing down, so does he. And then he looks like, and then as he comes back down to the piano and slams down, you know, it looks like he's coming back to Earth, but they also snap a photo and it turns into the newspaper picture. And it's like such a cool moment. And
which is probably what Elton John said, how he felt. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it does. It communicated me more than, oh, this is his first big show at this name, because all the fans know this is where he first played his show. They played this song. No, it was more about everything he was experiencing. They save Rocketman for a very, very pivotal point in the movie, a very low point in the movie, and it turns into an underwater Aquaman scene in a very weird way. Not that extreme, obviously, but it just goes about things in a very cool way that I felt were way more rewarding. There are some very Hollywood moments, like the very end of the movie I feel is very Hollywood, as Elton is kind of resolving his addiction and things like that.
I didn't even know he had an addiction.
He was crazy. He was crazy. Not so much the amount of drugs. I mean, cocaine, alcohol, but he was also bulimic. He was also sick. I mean, he was just all over the place. You know, for a short period of time, and you know. And
so he's one of those people that should be dead.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You know, suicide attempts. You know, I mean.
Everything.
It seemed, you know, it really also kind of made me just think, watching this movie now, again, after seeing Bohemian Rhapsody and, you know, getting away from the movie aspect, but just seeing all these biopics, like, this movie more than any other really kind of just makes you go, man, is it really worth it, you know? Because every time, think about any biopic or any movie about a famous, you know, rock star or rock god, most of the time they're drunk, they're high, they're in the rooms, or they're trying, like, you know, like they become these tragic figures. And I think Rocketman kind of looks at that in a different perspective, because it really does focus on the addiction and Elton trying to fix himself in a time of his life where the world would think he had everything. And, you know, I think that's the kind of perspective that you need to make your movies unique.
I wonder if Taron Egerton was able to lock in this role because they met on the set of Kingsman 2 or something. I
don't know, but almost immediately when Taron Egerton comes on screen for the first time, and just his mannerisms. I'm not even talking about like his overall appearance. I'm not talking about his ability to sing, which are all unbelievable. It's criminal that kid has not
that much talent,
has not been more exposed yet. But just as something as simple as the way that he looks around the room, what he does with his teeth. Elton has always been like a lip biter.
Oh, really?
And he, like, you know, he gets that down, and like you notice it. It's not something big. It's not like something that they're like, oh, wink, wink. And then transitions are cool. I know that's not something we normally talk about here, but sometimes movies are clever enough where they
Like
could come
Star
up
Wars
with
transitions.
well, yeah, well, back in the day we had the we'd have the black screen and all that stuff. But no, like there's this really great period where we see Elton grow up through his glasses shifting, and like that's just cool creative stuff for me that I thought made the movie more entertaining. But it also gives you like all those kind of generic beats as far as start. But there's heart, and Taron Egerton brings a really solid performance, and he's quite moving. I think far and wide better than Bohemian Rhapsody, and I think his performance is to me far more challenging and far more superior than
Rami Malek.
So I definitely recommend it.
All right. Don't forget, we also have a review for Godzilla,
King of Monsters.
Then you can see which one we like better.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure to do that. And then next week, the final chapter in the 20th Century Fox X-Men franchise.
Let it go to bed, guys. Dark Phoenix.
Time
again.
to put him to bed. Well, I guess, what doesn't kill you kills you later, I guess.
It's so sad. I'm not
if
even
the story of
positive
Dark
about
Phoenix
it.
didn't... This,
That's sad.
It's like Dark Phoenix was really created to destroy the X-Men like movie franchise. They tried it once, it didn't work.
They're like, we'll do
it's
it
like
again.
the self-detonation.
Let's do it again. Let's do it one more time.
How can we destroy this franchise? Let's do Dark Phoenix again. Okay,
Because no one liked it the first time, and this is already going downhill. What if
we just self-imploded it?
one more time?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like the producers. What we will make more money. We'll benefit more from making a failure than a hit, and that's just feels like that's where they're going for.
Yeah, because Disney's about to buy us, so let's just waste.
Yeah, just tax it all off.
Just do it, bro. It's all tax.
But I am hoping it turns out to be good and we're surprised.
Or rude.
I hope it goes out with a bang, because I will tell you, the X-Men franchise has been around for a long time.
2000.
It's been a part of us.
X-Men 1 was 2000, right?
I get, in 2001 at the most. I get Tony Stark and the MCU has been a part of our lives heavily for the past 10 years, but
11
but
years.
X-Men has been around
20.
19, 20 years.
20 years.
I mean, they've been a driving
I'm only
force.
36.
And sometimes, it's an unhealthy relationship too. You know, sometimes it's really nice.
What's your
and
favorite
abusive.
X-Men movie of all time?
I'd have to rewatch them.
I would have to say
I would like
Logan.
to rewatch them.
I'll have to say Logan, then
I
Days of
forget
Future
about
Past.
I forget about the Wolverine,
Wolverine?
the solos.
The
I
second
don't
one,
like
yeah.
Wolverine.
The second Wolverine where he's in Japan. I love that one so much. Yeah.
I'd probably,
Yeah.
after not seeing them, seeing especially the first three in probably 10 years, I would think it would go 2-1 First Class, Days of Future Past.
I hate all the
the what? The new
like
ones?
First Class.
Oh, I
Other
like
than
First
Days
Class.
of Future Past. Apocalypse
Apocalypse
was
was
such a
terrible.
letdown. What the hell?
But X-Men 1 and 2. That's when I'm more excited to go
original
back
X-Men
and
1 and
revisit.
2?
Yeah.
I haven't seen those since, yeah.
We should watch them in preparation.
Yeah.
Well, not for Dark Phoenix. It's weak. It's not enough time. For the 5, we'll give it 5 years and we'll see.
Okay.
So make sure to join us here at AMC Town Square next week at 10 o'clock for discounted tickets. Make sure to text this guy at 702.
3485618.
Or you can comment below and make sure to get tickets because we want you to join us here because if the movie's good or bad, it's always a good time.
Yeah, because if it's bad, you'll be entertained, and if it's good, you'll be entertained.
Be entertained.
ChasingCinema.com is known as
The Film Lovers website.